Hey, welcome back to another review for the Patrick Swayze Marathon. This time it is To Wong Foo, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. And yes, that is Wesley Snipes, Patrick Swayze, and John Leguizamo as drag queens. And despite that, this is not a bad film. It's not a bad film. It has a pretty decent heart on its shoulder. It's a decent message it's trying to say. It's tame, and I mean that in a good way, because I just see a movie nowadays, they would try to be so over the top raunchy and over the top gross that it takes you out of the movie. This one, though, it does. The actors do good in their roles. Granted, I don't know how anyone could buy Wesley and Patrick Swayze as women. John Leguizamo, I just see people maybe buying into him as a woman. But Swayze and Wesley, no. Unless they're two of the ugliest women out there. But it's one of those things that the movie is just trying to be... I don't want to say cookie cutter. It's not trying to be a realistic film at all. It's not trying. It's a. How do I put it? One of those '90s films that, just like some films in the '80s, where trying to find the right way to word it, just trying to be fun, lighthearted. I think that's the word. Just a lighthearted romp. I think it's like a lighthearted romp is the phrase I'm thinking of. Swayze and Wesley Snipes, we see them dressing up as women. They're drag queen finalists, as long as others. RuPaul, whose last year's winner, comes down. Swayze and Snipes win in a tie, and they're going to go, I forget where they were going to go, to Hollywood for a drag queen beauty pageant. And John Leguizamo's character is sad, and at least Swayze decides to take her under her wing. I forgot Robin Williams was in this, and Robin Williams has a fun cameo where they only have tickets for two, and there's going to be three of them, so they don't sell their plane tickets and figure out another way so Robin Williams gets them a car. Yeah, it was nice to see Robin Williams in there. So they picked a car. Of course, they picked the car for style, not for substance. So they picked a car that looks good, but sooner rather than later breaks down. And I mean, the movie itself, I wouldn't say it really made me laugh. I really wouldn't say it made me chuckle. You know, there's certain things, like they get to a motel and people treat them normally. And that's because there's a women basketball convention there. And again, for some reason, they buy, especially these two, as women. They don't think twice. I don't know why. Maybe this would have been better if it was just a road trip movie. Because a good chunk of the film is them stuck in this little town, and pretty much they turn the town around, get everyone in the town out of their shell. Chris Penn is in the film as a cop who tries to feel up Swayze because he thinks Swayze's a woman. Swayze pushes him back, knocks him out, but they think he's dead. They go to this small town. Their car's broken down. They mingle with the locals. Stockard Channing, she's in the flick as a woman who he found out is getting abused by her husband. And Swayze kicks that guy's ass. Wesley Snipes talks to this older woman and talks to her about movies in old Hollywood. And finally the old lady starts talking. They take the women to the beauty parlor and dress them up in these clothes from the 60s that they find. And it's one of those movies that I think I can watch it for the performances of these three because they're not half-assing it. They're not sleepwalking through the roles. They're doing what they can with the roles and having fun with the roles. And I think it's mainly the three of them and their interaction that makes it at least a time waster for me. Again, I wouldn't say I love the film, but it's at least a time waster. And like I say, it's a fluffy film that, in a weird way, it's kind of like a later Swayze film, Waking Up in Reno. They're both films that are road trip movies, and then for the second half, they kind of are in one place location. But this film did it better because Waking Up in Reno, I'll get to that later on, but that film, it tried to be fluffy and fun, but then it tries to be serious, but then it doesn't really work, and like that's like a time waster as well. But I would say I like this even more because at least it knew for the full time just be a fluffy fun film. Even like the abusive guy, they don't go too hardcore that it takes you out of the film. It's just enough for that Swayze gets pissed and throws the guy out, and then it helps Dr. Channing come out of her shell. And the whole message, don't worry if people accept you or not. Chris Penn, he comes in the town looking, but all the town come out, and they go, "Oh, I'm a drag queen. No, I'm a drag queen. No, I'm this, I'm that." And they're all dressed in red for this festival they have, and they make Chris Penn leave. And by the end, the car gets fixed. They leave. John Leguizamo wins the pageant. Julie Newmar, which is part of the title, she's actually there. Of course, she was one of the women who played Catwoman on the Adam West Batman TV show. She makes an appearance at the end, giving John Leguizamo the crown for the drag queen pageant, as the song "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" is playing. And in the movie, it's harmless. I think that's the word I'm looking for. It's a harmless time waster that people, the subject matter is men dressing up as women and blah, 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 blah. I mean, for what it is, it's fine. Like I said, the actors do their jobs well, especially John Leguizamo. I almost said she. He does a really good job in his role. Like, John Leguizamo kind of steals the movie. And again, when he gets geared up, it's like you can kind of buy that people think that's a woman. The other two, not so much. I'm sorry, Swayze. I miss you. May you rest in peace. So I'm sorry, Wesley. And it was kind of ballsy of them because those two were coming off of action films. I mean, Passenger 57 and Demolition Man for Wesley. For Swayze, you had done Roadhouse and Next of Kin. But hey, they tried to do something different, and performance-wise, they did a good job. And when Wesley Snipes is getting the old woman to come out of her shell, there's some nice sweet moments in there. Dr. Channing, she does a good job in her role and how she bonds with Swayze's character. That's nice. And that's what I mean. It's a film that has a good heart on its shoulder, good intentions. I think that's another thing why the film works. It does have good intentions and good performances with good intentions. That's really a great way to sum it up. I believe there's a Blu-ray of this with features, because I looked on YouTube and there's an interview with John Leguizamo. Of course, Swayze is no longer with us. I don't know if Wesley Snipes would talk about this film. I think this film did okay at the box office. I remember when it premiered. I think I remember that when it came out, it got the #1 spot. I mean, for people dressed up as women, I would put Mrs. Doubtfire above this. Mrs. Doubtfire I've warmed up to. But I would say I liked it more than Big Mama's House. Because that film just didn't have anything to offer, at least to me. It wasn't funny, and I didn't give a shit about any of its heart. Here, while I didn't find it really that funny, again, good heart, good intentions, and good performances. But anyway, not much else I can say other than that. Thanks for watching. Take care. And stay tuned for more reviews for the Patrick Swayze Marathon. See you guys later.